Hello and good evening. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Shikuku. I teach film and theatre arts. Essentially, that means I am in the creative sector. I am a teacher of artists. What that tells you is that I am, in a way, also an artist. I'm an actor, I'm a director. I've directed quite a number of plays. I have acted in quite a number of plays, the latest being The Island by Athol Fugard. And we did it at the Kenya National Theatre the last few days ago. So now there is this day we went to for gymnastics. Those days we used to call it PE. In a neighboring school, it was called Bumini Primary School. So once we were there, after our team had performed and it had performed very well, we didn't see why we should continue sitting in that school the whole day. We will be leaving at about 4 or 5 when results are announced. So we told some of our friends, why can't we go to the local river and swim? I mean, some of us had already been in that river, had swum as kids, and there was no problem. So we went, we rolled down to the river. The river was called River Lusumu. So we rolled down, we went there, we removed our clothes, we started swimming. And for some of us who had some little experience in swimming in the river knew that where the current was flowing very fast, it was a safe place. Where the current is not flowing, where there is still water, and the current used to flow in the middle of the river. On the sides were still waters. So we told ourselves, so we knew, and upstream there used to be a tree, and that tree used to have fruits. Don't know how to translate that tree in English because those fruits, they are called sinduli. I don't know what they are called in English. And it so happened that most of the boys usually wanted to swim upstream, go and eat sinduri, and bask on the rocks that were upstream. Many people used to swim downstream because downstream the waters were shallow, and there was no challenge anyway. It was a crossing area of the river. So now as we are swimming, we swim upstream. We're taking care so that we don't swim in the deep waters. 2 guys come from our school after we have swum for like an hour. They come and they ask us, can we swim upstream with you? We ask them, do you know how to swim? They say, yes, we know how to swim. So we told them, fine. No, they said they don't know how to swim. So we told them, fine, if you don't know how to swim, do this. Are you seeing where the current is flowing very fast? Walk there, because when the current is flowing, it usually deposits rocks or stones, and so you can literally walk upstream. Water will reach perhaps on your arms, but you won't be swept. So these 2 guys were called John and Tico. So we tell John and Tico, just walk where the current is flowing. Don't worry about the water moving very fast. So they come, they start walking, they pass the shallow end, they come. They are now at one of the deeper ends where water is, let's say, at the breast area, at the shoulder area. Now Tico feels that, no, I'm going to drown. So he says, since this water is beating me very fast, let me to go to the side where this water is not moving. So he makes the mistake of going to drifting actually to the left side, and the left side was still waters, the right side is still waters, in between is where the current was flowing. So the guy starts drowning. I look at him, I tell my friend, I had a friend right now, he's a senior sergeant at Kingongo prisons, David Nate. Yeah, I tell him, David, this guy is drowning, what can we do? He tells me, go and pull him out. So I jump into the water, I swim. Since I had some skills, I swim, I go, I get hold of him, I bring him to where water was flowing very fast. Now, the problem is when John saw Tico drowning, John also decides to go the left. Now, as he swims towards the left side, he drowns on the left, the still waters on the left, because now the current was flowing very fast and they are panicked. They have panicked. So John swims to the left side, and now, unlike Tico, who I held very fast and brought back, John actually starts, what is the word? Starts, making a lot of movements, trying to rescue himself. So the more he did, the more he went to the still waters. The more he does these activities, the more he goes to the still waters. So by the time I'm bringing John to the place that was sort of an island where he could stand, because the other side he was submerged. John is submerged the other end now. Remember, Tico drowned on the right side. John is drowning on the left side. So I again dashed there. But since he had panicked so much, he caught hold of me and then immersed me in the water, submerged me. So now I can't also breathe. But then for me, I had learned if you go down and step down, then push yourself up, you will come up, and then now you can swim to safety. So I went down. Bad mistake, because down is mud. So I go down, I step down so that I get that inertia to throw me up. I'm stuck in the mud, down. Now I have to go down literally with my feet and remove mud from my feet before I could come up. So when I came up, John had drifted. He had literally now gone. He's drowning, this guy is going. So when I swim now to where Tico was, I find that we are actually alone. These guys had taken off because they knew I and Tico and John have died. So they have taken off. They have taken off. They are running. They are leaving us in the rivers. So I swim downstream where our clothes were. I put on my clothes and now I'm crying because I was swimming with Tico, holding Tico to get him out of the water. When I glance back the last time, I see, normally they say that if somebody is going to drown the last time, he usually comes back and waves. So I see John actually literally waving at us. I started to cry. Fortunately, there were ladies who were crossing the river downstream. So they also saw this guy, waving. And they shouted, "There's a child drowning, a child is drowning, somebody help." So down the stream, there were guys who were harvesting sand from the river. So they ran and jumped into the water and went and searched for Tico, because now he had waved, which means he was not coming up again. They searched him in that river down and got him and brought him to the shore. And pressed, of course, the stomach until he threw out the water. By that time, I had gone. But this is how the story we were told. This guy had, after they had got water out of him, they really spanked him, they thrashed him thoroughly. So while we were, while we were at school, when we went back to the primary school, we had gone for gymnastics. John was the son to the deputy principal of that school. So now, but he didn't know that day. So the following day, that's when the story was leaked out, because the guy now was sick. The story was leaked out, and that is how we were summoned in school on Monday. It was a Saturday. We were summoned in school on Monday, really beaten thoroughly. We were taken back to that primary school on their parade again and beaten there. But it taught me never to trust somebody to do the right thing if that person doesn't know. because it would have been easier for me just to go down, or one of us to go down the stream and hold John or Tico by the hand and walk with them up to upstream. But we thought we could trust them. They panicked. The funny thing with that, the story is that this friend of mine who is now a sergeant at Kingongo prisons in Nyeri, the guy started running without clothes, completely naked, the way he was born in the river. But by the time he was arriving at school, the guy had clothes on. How he dressed, he has never understood. He has never told us how he got dressed. And because for him, he knew John had died. And actually, people who left us in the river knew John had died. So they went to announce at the primary school, John and Willie, or whom I use the name Willie, have died in the river. So when we came, they were wondering, how did you make it? I told them, you guys left us. Yeah, so that was one of the stories that's one of the activities, rather, not even a story, activities we engaged in when we were little boys and girls, little boys in Mukambi Primary, in Shanda village. Thank you.